Any new Darman? I'm sure there is, but I don't feel like watching Darman right now. You know what I do feel like watching, though? I really do want to watch the Summoning Salt Mario Kart one. I didn't get to finish this one. I forgot that he posted a second one. I didn't finish this. I love the first one, and I started the second and I never finished it, I guess. Mario Kart Wii is like one of the most interesting fucking games that I've never played.
Mario Kart Wii has some ridiculous shortcuts. Grumble Volcano, Coconut Mall. For speedrunners, there's certainly no
God,
secret.
it's so good.
I covered many
And the
of these
science
in a video
behind it
a
is
couple
so
of years
crazy.
ago. Tricks known as ultra shortcuts. However, since then, a revolution has taken place. Since 2019, ultra shortcuts in Mario Kart Wii have been discovered at a rate never before seen. This is the story of the ultra shortcut revolution.
I never played Mario Kart Wii. The Wii is the only console I've never owned. That and the 3DS, actually. But I know Mario Kart Wii had the fucking craziest AI.
So, what is an ultra shortcut? Well, naturally, it's a shortcut that skips a large portion of the track. But as you'll see in a minute, there's actually a bit more to it than that. From 2008 through 2018, courses like Mushroom Gorge, Wario's Gold Mine, and DK Jungle Parkway had shortcuts discovered so players could complete them in under a minute. They were performed in a variety of ways. In Mushroom Gorge, you ride on a wall around the finish line. In Wario's Gold Mine, you bounce off a pipe to the track above. And on DK Jungle Parkway, you fly high in the air and clip through a wall to the end of the track. Over the course of about a decade, massive shortcuts like these were discovered at the rate of about one
I was never interested in motion controls. I just didn't care.
Slowly but surely, more and more of the game's 32 courses had ultra shortcuts discovered. In 2019, a revolution began. For a multitude of reasons, ultra shortcuts were discovered more rapidly than ever before. They all had to do with the game's faulty checkpoint system, and to see how it works, we're going to look at one of the most broken tracks in Mario Kart Wii. This is Sherbert Land.
Sherbert! This one's pretty cool. I remember this from the first video. I'm assuming it's completely different now. They've probably been this fucking level inside out.
This course is a massive
Go wild
loop,
on it.
and obviously the programmers didn't want you to skip any significant portion of it. So they built an intricate checkpoint system into every track to try to prevent that. The green lines, on the other hand, are key checkpoints. These are the ones that really matter, and you can think of them as boxes that extend all the way until the next checkpoint. The red starting line also acts as a key checkpoint. The game wants you to drive through all of these without skipping any in order to give you credit for a lap. The way it does this is with a counter that updates as you drive through each key checkpoint. On Sherbert Land, there's 8 key checkpoints and the finish line, which counts as Region 0. So as long as your counter is at Region 8 when you cross the finish line, you'll get credit for the lap. The game also has a failsafe to make sure you don't skip any key checkpoint regions. The only key checkpoint regions that are loaded at any time are the region you're in, the one in front of you, and if you're in the key checkpoint box itself, the region behind you is loaded too. A region has to be loaded for your counter to update to it. So say you're here in Region 1, and you try to skip ahead to Region 3. Well, the only other region loaded is the one in front of you, so skipping any large portion of the track isn't doable. Another failsafe the game has involves the finish line. If you ever go from the box right in front of the finish line
it's
to the
big
box
brain
right
to
behind
figure it out, but
the game will
when it's
subtract
explained
a
to you,
lap
it all
from the
makes
total.
sense.
That way, you can't just go through or around the finish line to the end and complete it for a free lap. So, since you couldn't skip any key checkpoints, the only possible shortcuts seem to be small corner cutters. The game's checkpoint system did its job, but it had one flaw. One major, game-breaking flaw. If you start any shortcut from key checkpoint region 0, right in front of the finish line, The key checkpoint box behind you is still loaded, Region 8.
It's elementary,
So
really, when you
can
think
skip
about
a
it.
massive portion of the track, and as long as you started in that first box, your counter can still be updated to Region 8, and the lap will count. Shortcuts that abuse this specific glitch are classified as ultra shortcuts. And sure enough, Sherbertland has one that's possible. This is the Sherbertland Ultra Shortcut.
God, the ultra shortcuts are so fucking
It involves doing a
satisfying.
trick known as a wall clip. By backing up, using a mushroom, and doing a wheelie to get at least 5 frames of airtime and adjust your bike's
Thanks to the
rotational
resub
angle,
diabetes
you can
and
run
feels
into the
toad.
side of certain objects to clip high into the air. This has a variety of uses across the game, but back in July 2015, a player named Blaze figured out that you could wall clip off of the finish line pole and land far enough back to respawn a bit behind the finish line. You can see from the checkpoint map what's happening. You start in the box in front of the finish line, then need to land in a specific spot in this checkpoint to respawn. Then, since key
No, I don't know
checkpoint
what
8
that
is
is.
loaded, you need to turn
84K
around
to
and
do
go
no
touch
art.
the box to update the game's counter before driving forward to the finish. A lap could be completed in under 20 seconds. For a few years, people took turns lowering the 3-lap world record, and by late 2017, it was a 1:43 by a runner named
Yeah,
Fry.
but that's kind of pussy
The
shit. I
biggest
want to see it
issue with
under
the
a
shortcut,
minute.
However, was that it could only be done once per race. By angling your bike to the left more, you could make it back to the track without a respawn.
Thanks to some frag
But
keeper
doing
and
so
nightmare.
would cause the lap to not count, because of yet another failsafe the game has. The 95%
Self-destruct device.
The game actually keeps track of how much of the course you've completed when you enter each checkpoint, or at least the game's best estimation of how much you've completed. Now, the game actually isn't that great at tracking this in most cases. In courses like Grumble Volcano, for instance, where you're clearly skipping more than 95% of the track by going on the rock, the game only registers you as skipping about 83%.
Oh,
so the
well.
trick works.
Like, how do they get
But
that
on
math?
Sherbertland, since you have to cross over this checkpoint to land on the track,
Holy shit.
the game thinks you went from 0% to 97%, meaning the 95% rule was not satisfied and the lap wouldn't count. But in May 2019, a
Oh,
tool-assisted
shit.
speedrunner known as Swear got an idea. The game's
Swear.
percentage of completion updates anytime you enter a checkpoint. So you could drive ahead to the next checkpoint, then re-enter the first checkpoint from further ahead, at about 2% completion. Then, if you manage to wall clip and land on the track while your completion percentage updated to 97%, the 95% rule would be satisfied and the lap would count. So, Swear got to work at creating a tool-assisted speedrun of Sherbertland. A tool-assisted speedrun, or a TAS, is a type of speedrun where the player uses tools like slowdown, save states, and frame by frame
too
to
dumb
create
for
higher
this.
levels of gameplay.
It's
that
the way he
humans
breaks
can
it down
fulfill.
makes it really simple to follow.
On May
though. What do you mean?
21st, 2019, getting a new world record of 140.
Ooh, yuck.
Just over a
Embarrassing.
month later, Taylor would improve the record to 129 by doing the 2 mushroom no respawn method on lap 1, then using his last mushroom to do the wall clip again and land in the water for a lap skip. This same method would be improved over the following months,
looking
down
good.
to a 116 by Arthur, which is where the record stands today.
Oh, son of a bitch.
As of now,
No
nobody
sub 1
has
minute?
hit the 1 mushroom no respawn lap skip in real time, even once. Arthur got pretty close in
Until
October
now.
2020,
I'll do it. Fuck it.
with his front tire hitting against the edge. These
Please
Sherbertland
resub
developments could be
Kiritsugu.
considered the first major events of the Ultra Shortcut revolution. Over the following several weeks in mid-2019, discoveries went dormant for a bit while players worked on improving various world records. But in July, seemingly out of nowhere, possibly the craziest day in Mario Kart Wii history took place.
T-Pain set a
Remember
new
how I mentioned
record.
before that ultra shortcuts in the past had been discovered at the rate
He
of
beat
about 1 per
Sherbertland
year?
in 5 seconds.
Well, during these 24 hours, there wasn't a new ultra shortcut discovered. There were 3 of them.
Woo!
Whatever it was, the end result was incredible. On July 11th and 12th, new ultra shortcuts were revealed on N64 Bowser's Castle, Shy Guy Beach, and Koopa Cape. Bowser's Castle was first, being revealed on July 11th. and it looked quite similar to the one on Sherbetland. This shortcut was first theorized by a tasser known as CF, and successfully tasked by Luke with help from a handful of others. It began by doing
such a huge
humanly
community.
impossible trick known as rapid fire hop abuse. The game needs your bike to be on the ground for at least 2 frames to update its rotational angle. By alternating pressing and releasing the hop button every frame, or 30 times per second, you can ensure that your bike is only on the ground for 1 frame at a time, so your bike's rotational angle will never update. This can only be done in a tool-assisted speedrun. Then, once you get near this wall, you can release the rapid fire hop abuse, causing the game to quickly update your rotational angle and slam your front wheel into the ground. You'll briefly fly into the air, allowing you to get over the wall next to the finish line.
Jesus
And then
Christ.
doing a wall clip, you'll fly high in the air and down into the lava. This ultra shortcut works just like the one on Sherbetland. These checkpoints extend out a bit into the lava, so it's possible to land in them even without making it to the road. So once again, you can land out of bounds, respawn on the course, then go back to hit the last key checkpoint and finish the lap.
Am I seeing
But
Venom 2
ultimately,
this weekend?
Even
Yeah.
though the shortcut was similar in
I'm not
structure to
expecting much,
Sherbetland,
but
the rapid fire
check it
hop
out.
abuse made it TAS only. It was impossible to do this humanly.
until
The
now.
second shortcut, on the other hand, if you could clip off a bomb right in front of the finish line and land somewhere back here, you would then be able to touch the last key checkpoint and get an extremely fast lap. The bombs in Shy Guy Beach operate on a cycle, with bombs landing and exploding at the same times in the same places each time you play. And coincidentally, right when the race begins, a bomb lands in front of the finish line, exactly where you'd want to clip off of it. So naturally, that's
It's
what
like
the players were
Nintendo
aiming for.
wanted them to do it.
But every time they tried, the bomb would explode just too soon. Luke was able to get close with the TAS, but it exploded frames too early every single time. So, CF's original TAS was for the second time the bomb landed there. But that meant waiting for over 3 minutes.
Oh, that's
That
worth
ruled out
it.
any hopes of beating the 3-lap world record. But you could still beat the single lap record. By driving to the end of the first lap, then waiting until 3 minutes on the timer, you could quickly start the second lap, then wall clip off the bomb to the end of the lap, and smash the fastest lap world record. And later the same day, that's what players were doing. Justin became the first player to set a world record with the Ultra Shortcut.
Congrats,
with a
Justin!
22nd lap.
Let's go!
And he chose to spend his 3-minute wait by eating an entire pack of Oreo cookies.
I am eating with no milk, by the way.
A couple weeks
Wow,
later,
that's a lot.
this
That's a
method
lot
would
of
be
calories.
improved in a task by EJ. By starting the clip sooner, you could clip off the back of the bomb to shave a fraction of a second.
No, hold on. 1 second. Don't mean to blue ball you. I'll be right back.
So those were the first 2 shortcuts, both discovered on July 11th.
Both
They
pretty
both
easy.
involved wall clips, flying high into the air to skip a lap. But just a short while later,
Thanks to
the
Prime
third
Mini
ultra
Axe.
shortcut in 24 hours was discovered. And this one was the craziest of all. Welcome to Koopa Cape.
This doesn't look too crazy.
The credit for this one goes to Blaze, being revealed in a TAS on July 12th. By releasing it, you'll get slammed into the ground again and launched high in the air. The rapid fire hop abuse alone makes this humanly impossible, but in case it didn't, this next part would likely take care of that too. By angling your wheel up while in the air, you can then do a wall clip and land inside the barrier while still technically being on the track. Then you maneuver close to the finish line with extreme precision and fall off the course. When you respawn, you're behind the finish line and can finish the lap.
That's
As this
big.
trick stands right
Who
now,
found this, Blaze?
it's certainly not humanly viable.
I always knew he was
Getting
destined
across
for
this
greatness.
gap seems to be impossible without rapid fire hop abuse. So until a way around that is
Koopa Cape
figured out,
shortcut is now
no
humanly
human
possible
will
using
ever
another
perform this
strat.
outside of a TAS. So those were the 3 ultra shortcuts discovered in
You said Justin was the first to do it? The Justin, the boy wonder? Man, this... What is this song? This slaps. Wow, Justin. Can you only do it once? This is a cool map. I just kind of want to watch the run now. What a good year, am I right?
2019 may have been an incredible year for Mario Kart Wii, but 2020 really was the year of the Ultra Shortcut. And it all started just 9 days in. Players knew for a while that if they could somehow get inside of it, they might be able to maneuver around in it to get a lap skip. Issue was, it has a massive invisible wall that extends upward in the sky. Any attempts to get up inside of it would be blocked by this wall. But in early January 2020, a player named Jaden pointed out that a section of this wall by the mushroom
so where do they
extended out
where do they
past the
get
wall,
this kind of like
and the bottom
blueprint?
here has no hit detection. From there, she then had to get to the end of the lap. You essentially have to go around the rest of the course while in the wall but still touching the road. Doing this is beyond precise. You have an incredibly tight space to work with. There's a point midway through where you have to turn more than 90 degrees to the left, and a player named Charlie figured out that to turn that far, you have to go extremely slowly and do a standstill mini turbo while in the air. Published by EJ, but with contributions from a plethora of players. But here's the crazy part. Technically, nothing here is humanly impossible. There's no rapid fire hop abuse, and that wall clip at the start can be done. Even the movement inside the wall, as insanely precise as it is, technically none of those moves are strictly humanly impossible. So, will it ever be done?
Nah, humans are cringe.
Conventional speedrunning logic says that anything theoretically possible will be done eventually, but it's hard to say if that applies here. Most in the Mario Kart Wii community don't see it as a humanly possible trick, even though none of the moves themselves are technically impossible. Right now, it just seems a little bit out of reach. The next shortcut, on the other hand, is absolutely out of reach. This is Dry Ruins.
Nah, I believe we can do it. I want to find something that only humans can do, the machines can't.
Let's start by looking at the checkpoint map. As with most of these shortcuts, the goal
Surely
is
there's
simple.
something we can beat
You go
machines
from the
at.
box in front of the finish line,
Besides, like, the
out
obvious.
around the finish line and out of bounds, then respawn, turn to hit the last key checkpoint.
I said besides
and
the
drive
obvious,
forward
yes, we can
to
beat
finish the lap.
machines at shitting.
The key to doing that is getting around the finish line. But here's the problem. Around the course is a massive invisible wall, highlighted here in blue. You can't get around the finish line checkpoint without getting past this wall, and it just goes up and up. So that was the big challenge. Figure out a way to get past the invisible wall. Blaze took it upon himself to solve it. There wasn't a way to go through the wall, but Blaze had another idea.
Go under it.
He was gonna try to go over it.
Oh, fuck.
Enter the super grind.
Other end of the spectrum. I was pretty close.
A super grind is a form of rapid fire hop abuse. You do the normal hop inputs on every other frame, but add in alternating between neutral and a direction on the control stick. This causes your horizontal speed to build up as well as changing your
Thanks to
bike's rotation.
Rolla and Grand
So when you eject off the ramp, you get sent high in the air. By then doing a wall clip off of the rock, you go even higher and can eventually make it up over the invisible wall and out of bounds. The rapid fire hop abuse makes this impossible to do humanly, but on January 16th, Blaze managed to get a 27-second lap in a TAS. That made it 2 ultra shortcuts discovered in January 2020. Just 1 month into the year, and 2 more tracks were already broken. The discoveries did slow down for a few months after this, as February and March came and went without any new ultra shortcuts. But in April, the 3rd ultra shortcut of 2020 was revealed. And this one had been in development for a long time.
Oh,
this
10 years
is
maybe?
Bowser Castle 3. To start, we have to go back to July 2019, when Justin came up with a rough idea for an ultra shortcut that would barely save any time. At the end of the lap, you could hop up on the wall and wall clip to cut this corner of the track. Issue was, you'd be skipping the second to last key checkpoint.
Thanks, resub chill
Your
dice.
tracker would be at 5, then wouldn't
Saucy.
update to 6, and since region 7 isn't loaded, the lap wouldn't count. But luckily, Justin had a way around that, skipping the first key checkpoint too. This might seem counterintuitive, but think about how the checkpoint system works. By skipping region 1, the game thinks you're still in region 0, meaning the last region is loaded too. So, skipping region 6 is inconsequential since the only other region loaded is region 7, and the counter updates once you get there, allowing for a successful lap.
Woo!
This same idea of skipping the first checkpoint to allow for a later skip was already used on Maple Treeway, so it wasn't a new concept. The next day, Benny theorized another method. It was actually possible to wall clip off of certain blocks. You can very precisely fall off the side of these blocks, then do a wall clip off of them to get launched far forward. And as Snoop figured out, this method was viable, but only if you use the spear, the fastest bike in the game. Even with the second clip later, the lap was still slower than the non-shortcut record, since the spear's poor drift cost too much time. The non-shortcut task to beat was 36.656.
Oh, we can get that down.
If someone could get a time under that, then this would officially be a new ultra shortcut. Estaloy62 and Curio would later prove that the first skip was possible with the Flame Runner, the bike typically best for getting fast times. That opened the door to maybe turning it into an official ultra shortcut, but when Akari and Monster lowered the non-shortcut task down by half a second in October, that put a bit of a damper on things. But a few months later, a group of taskers came back. They felt that if they could just find a bit of time to save, they could make this ultra shortcut a reality.
Oh, there he is!
On April 26th, the final task was published. A 35.743, just ahead of the non-shortcut lap record. EJ was technically the first person to beat the non-shortcut task, after finding the faster way to turn for the second skip, but the final product had contributions from Estaloy, Curio, Malio, Marth, Monster, Rocky, and Snoop. A remarkable journey from many members in the community.
Pretty useless
culminating
shortcut,
in a new
though.
ultra shortcut by the slimmest of margins. The 3rd of 2020. Now, none of these three had been done humanly, but just seeing ways that a task could break courses was amazing. Still though, there wasn't anything new where you could pick up a controller and perform it.
Did his jaw
That's
get
what the
stuck?
discoveries of 2020
Nah,
had been
yawned and
missing.
it gave me like a headache.
But in July,
I don't know why.
an interesting development was made to an old one. Waluigi Stadium had an ultra shortcut from back in 2015. You did a massive jump up high to skip the first key checkpoint, then performed rapid fire hop abuse to clip through a zipper and skip part of the course. It was an impressive shortcut, but the rapid fire hop abuse made it task only. End of story.
Thanks the bits of good neck
Right?
rhubarb.
His
Good
idea was
quality
to jump
recording.
in the air, hit off the top of the finish line banner, and pass through an invisible wall to later in the track. This finish line banner is technically a horizontal wall, and whenever your bike contacts one, it's temporarily able to pass through all other walls. Although Sam couldn't make it to the track with his method, using the banner for the invisible wall would be explored years later. In January 2020, Justin and Benny came up with a variant of the original task method. You'd do a mini turbo for speed, reach the top of the banner, and use it to clip through the invisible wall, all without using a mushroom. Then, upon reaching the track, rather than doing the rapid fire hop abuse to clip through the zipper, you do this.
Whoa! Holy shit.
Believe it or not, this second part of the shortcut was viable. It was the shroomless banner clip at the start that the community was unsure of. Even with the precision of a task, you'd just barely have enough speed to make it to the track.
Groceries.
So this version was put on the back burner. But then, half a year later, Jello Puff proved that Sam's original method was possible to do in real time. The key was using the bullet bike, and using a task to perfect the angle and drift. Once again, nobody knew for sure if this was too precise to do humanly, but the inputs themselves weren't impossible. Players tried to do this for a few days, but ultimately nobody was able to hit it. Back to the drawing board. Until EJ came out with this method 5 days later.
EJ again, huh? Oh.
It was similar to Justin and Benny's method, but had much more leeway. You would use a mushroom to make it up to the banner, then clip to the left and have your front tire hit the dirt. By then hopping, your bike will bounce to the right, just enough to make it to the course. You could then turn around, hit the last key checkpoint, and finish the lap. Right away, people figured this would be humanly possible. The question was, who would pull it off first? Well, just 3 days later, that question was answered. The player's name was Logan, and he managed to time the hop perfectly and land out of bounds to get a 1:48 3-lap record. This was effectively the same as the task version, but he had to waste some time getting picked up rather than landing right back on the course. This record would eventually be lowered to 1:43 by not having to respawn, but there's still potential to take quite a bit of time off of it.
Mike.
It's possible to do this shortcut 3 times
and yeah,
in a
it's
race,
a memory leak,
using 1 mushroom per lap. But given the difficulty of doing this just once, it's a bit of a long shot. There's also been attempts to hit Sam's original method, which would be faster, but nobody's been able to yet. If either of those 2 tricks are hit, Waluigi Stadium's record could still be crushed. But as it turns out, the improvements to old strategies weren't done. Let's take a look at Ghost Valley 2. This one is pretty small, but looks impressive. The original Ghost Valley 2 shortcut was discovered in 2009, and involved doing a wall clip off the finish line pole to skip further in the track. But 6 years later, this shortcut would be improved by, of course,
Logan.
None other than Blaze.
Justin, fuck.
After landing from the first wall clip, you could turn around and do a second one off of these blocks, skipping to the end of the lap. The checkpoint map shows how this works.
Makes you so bizarre.
By leaving from the finish line box, the game still thinks you're in Region 0. So, skipping to later in the track is no issue. As long as you go back to hit the last key checkpoint, the game thinks you drove the lap normally and counts it. The only issue with this shortcut was that it only saved a fraction of a second, since you used all your mushrooms and couldn't do a normal wall clip on the other laps. Even though the second part was humanly possible, doing it fast enough to save time was tough. For years, nobody was able to do it in a 3-lap record. But finally, in October 2020, Logan did it.
Yeah, I knew he would.
Beating the old record by just 1/10 of a second. And to this day, nobody else has been able to pull off both wall clips in a world record speedrun. So that makes 5 ultra shortcuts or ultra shortcut improvements pulled off in 2020. These shortcuts have a wide range of human viability.
I might play New World tomorrow, we'll see.
Some are tricks humans can regularly perform, like Shy Guy Beach or Ghost Valley 2. Others will never be pulled off in their current state. Courses like Dry Ruins have tricks that make them impossible. One of those task-only shortcuts was N64 Bowser's Castle. I mentioned before how this trick involved rapid fire hop abuse to get over the wall. Alternating tapping the hop button on every other frame 30 times per second isn't humanly possible. So, any trick that requires this can't be done outside of a task. But remember what I said before? The rapid fire hop abuse made it task only. It was impossible to do this humanly. Was impossible. Keyword was. In November 2020, Tasser CF came back to take another look at N64 Bowser's Castle, looking for a way to bypass the rapid fire hop abuse. And sure enough, he found a way to make the ultra shortcut humanly possible. This is the barrel roll.
Oh, new tech?
This was a trick discovered the same year the game came out, back in 2008, but wasn't fully explored until many years later. You have to go up on a wall, then do a wheelie while you slowly fall over the edge. If done properly, your bike then enters a state where the game won't try to correct the bike's rotation as long as you stay at a low speed. Then, while in the barrel roll state,
Make
you
use of
can line
electronics.
yourself up with the finish line pole.
Happy birthday,
By
Oscar.
using a mushroom, the game will try to quickly correct your rotational angle. And just like with rapid fire hop abuse, this causes your bike to snap back to normal, allowing you to go over the wall and clip off the finish line pole. The end result is exactly the same as with rapid fire hop abuse. Difference is, now you don't need to button mash like a TAS. But doing this trick was still unbelievably precise. You needed to get the correct bounce, be lined up perfectly with the pole, then get a big enough clip to make it all the way to the checkpoint. 3 variables that, despite technically all being possible, needed a miracle to all line up in the same
And
run.
that's why we have
Who
Logan.
was crazy enough to try to get all of that?
Logan.
The answer, of course, was Logan.
Yep.
This was the same guy who first pulled off the Waluigi Stadium shortcut outside of the TAS, and who first got the double wall clip on Ghost Valley 2. He had also gotten dozens of other records over the course of a few years, so he certainly had the skill needed to do this. But this was one of the hardest tricks ever discovered in Mario Kart Wii. These were his attempts in the winter of 2020.
He gets it first try.
No way. No way. No way. Come on. Give it to me. No. I crossed backwards.
Wait, what happened?
Crossed backwards.
I don't know. I'm not smart enough to know what happened. But god damn it! Fuck, why? Why do good girls like bad guys?
I don't think they care about shortcuts. I think we just did it. I think we just did it. Oh no!
Shit.
No! No!
He's not
I
happy,
thought
I'm
that
not
was
happy.
it. What? No. Burn out on this. I need a new track. Never mind. No, come on, please.
That's
One
the
time.
one. That's the one.
Oh, come on.
What the fuck? It's rigged.
Logan's long grind had finally paid off. You could see the top 10 times in the world at the start of his record video. Everyone had a low 231 or 230, except for Logan. He was alone with a 220, a full 10 seconds ahead
Yeah,
of the
but it
rest,
wasn't filmed on
thanks
Twitch,
to
so it
the
doesn't
ultra
count,
shortcut.
so...
To this day, nobody else has been able to pull it off. As more time has passed, more old ultra shortcuts thought to be impossible have had new methods discovered. Koopa Cape is an example of this. Recently, Justin found a way to implement a barrel roll to do a wall clip and get out of bounds without needing to do rapid fire hop abuse. This setup would later be improved by EJ, but despite this, it's still unclear if it will ever be executed outside of a TAS. The precision needed is beyond nearly every other ultra shortcut in the game, and although players have tried, nobody has come close to hitting it yet. Now, there's
Well, we
still
did just watch
one
someone
more
do
course we
that,
have
so
to
they
talk
did figure
about,
it out.
and you probably know which one it is. This
Rainbow
is
Road.
Rainbow Road.
I called it. I actually finally got one right. Whee!
This shortcut's legacy is unrivaled. Rainbow Road's ultra shortcut is a trick that perfectly exemplifies the community's effort, and this story around it is simply incredible. It all started back in March 2016.
Thank you, Prime Joshi,
when
and the resub Rex. Fuck yeah.
Tassaloy62
Of
posted
course,
a
man.
video to YouTube.
Hope
Rainbow
you had a good
Road,
stream.
new ultra shortcut. This video was a task where Estaloy went forward, then turned around in front of the railing. She then got some speed and hopped, barely balancing on the outside of the railing. By using a mushroom and performing a spin drift, where you drift to the right while holding left, she managed to spin far to the right while getting a lot of airtime to move further ahead. She then angled the nose of the bike down to get a nosedive, causing a big bounce that threw her over the edge. Finally, once she was halfway to the other side, she used a mushroom for speed and held back on the controller to fall slower. She made it across, and had just cut out almost the
Is there a
entire
reason
lap.
why every runner uses
Now,
Funky
these
Kong?
inputs on their own are super tough, but the locations of the checkpoints means this is even more precise than it looks. When you move forward to go behind the railing, you leave key checkpoint
Just
0 and
OP.
enter key checkpoint 1.
Top tier character.
However,
best
you need
stats.
to ultimately leave the track from region 0 for the lap to count. So one of the hardest parts was making it back far enough to nick the corner of region 0 before flying off the edge. But if you managed to pull that off, all you needed to do was drive forward through the last key checkpoint and the lap would count. Chaining all of these inputs together was beyond precise. For years, nobody made any real progress on pulling off Estoloy's shortcut. On the task side of things, however, there was one possible improvement. See, Estoloy used all 3 of her mushrooms to make it across the track, and shortly after it was discovered that you really only needed to use 2 of them. One right before the spin drift, and one to provide speed to make it to the other side. Unfortunately, even using just 2 mushrooms meant you could only do this shortcut once per race, since you just have 1 mushroom left over. But what about taking it a step further? What about doing this shortcut
No mushrooms.
with just 1 mushroom?
Oh, fuck.
Well, if that was possible,
Oh
that
my
would mean you could do the shortcut
God.
3 times, once per lap, to finish the race in under a minute. For years, it seemed out of the question, but in late 2020, Tassers started taking a closer look at it. On November 21st, CF made a task that used 1 mushroom before the
Maybe
spin
tier
drift, then just barely made it
Bend
to
it
the
like
track
bears?
without using a second one. He did it, but the lap didn't count. The reason why was because he didn't go far enough back to enter region 0. This step was much harder than it looked. Going far enough back involves delaying when you launch off the edge as long as possible, which means your mushroom will run out faster. CF used the Quacker to help him, since it gave better bounces at the cost of a slower speed, but still wasn't able to make it far enough back. What
I like
this
that there's
run
like a whole
did
meta
do,
for the
however,
vehicles.
was inspire Malio to start attempts of his own. Malio is a well-known tasser of Paper Mario,
Resub will
Mario
eat
Kart
ass
Wii,
for cash
and various
and
other
Josie.
games. In late December 2020, he turned his attention to Rainbow Road, trying to become the first player to create a 1 mushroom task of the Ultra Shortcut. He didn't know if it was possible, so all he could do was sit down with the task and try over and over.
Oh, he's discovering some things in there. Oh,
Oh
I
my
see.
god, this might actually happen.
Yes.
Holy.
So this is what a task looks like, huh?
Holy fuck, that's so close. Oh my god. This is happening, this is happening, this is happening.
Oh. Thanks to resub Alex and
I love summoning salt.
Jockey.
Alright, now I have to make it.
Play the next frame. Oh yeah.
On December 28th, 2020, Malio proved that the 1 mushroom ultra shortcut was possible. Rainbow Road's ultra shortcut could now be done on each lap. The course is done. Mario Kart Wii did its best to make players drive normally, but thanks to the efforts of so many in the community, it was overcome.
Is there anything like this in
Rainbow
Mario
Road
Kart 8?
has been fully broken.
I doubt it. I already know there's not. I
But
don't know
what
why I'm
about on the
asking.
non-task side of things? This 3 out of 3 1 mushroom method is considered 100% humanly impossible. Partly because of its precision, but partly because Malio briefly did rapid fire hop abuse as well. That rules out any human ever performing the Rainbow Road Ultra Shortcut 3
At
times
some
in a
point,
race,
so yeah.
and beating the course in under a minute. at least for now. But what about the normal ultra shortcut? Community members proclaimed that it would never be done, because the precision was way beyond other ultra shortcuts. Each step of the trick had its own set of insanely precise inputs that would need to be performed. For years after its discovery, few serious attempts were made at landing it. But as more and more of these other incredibly difficult and precise ultra shortcuts were hit, Rainbow Road's legacy just grew bigger and bigger. It became the holy grail of Mario Kart Wii shortcuts. So, by 2018, the quest for the Rainbow Road Ultra Shortcut began. One of the first serious contenders was
Oh
King
my
Alex, a player with a long career who's held numerous records over the years. He posted a video in August 2018 of some of his closest attempts. There were some nice runs, but they all either didn't have enough rotation or had too small of a bounce. They all ended in him falling well short of the track. In 2019, he did more attempts. This time, the closest ones died because he hit the out-of-bounds planes. These were close to reaching the road, but once he hit the plane, all of them stopped dead in their tracks. Still, these runs looked close enough to the task that some serious excitement was brewing in the community. By late 2019, more players were trying. In November, a player named Taylor had probably the closest call so far, making it really close to the track. But ultimately, Taylor too fell short. In April 2020, esteemed world record holder Justin had an attempt that looked extremely close, but he hadn't gone far enough back to hit Region 0. So 4 years after the Ultra Shortcut was discovered, even though there had been somewhat close calls, players still weren't quite doing all they needed to do to hit it.
The players
but in November 2020,
goddamn,
players would get some help
quality
when
gamers.
CF released his task with the Quacker. I mentioned before how this helped get a 3 out of 3 task since the Quacker gives bigger bounces, but this improvement would also help with the normal shortcut. A bigger bounce meant there was a higher chance of making it to the road, which did help a bit. So now, there was new life for the Rainbow Road Ultra Shortcut. More players than ever before were going for it. Each of them wanting to be the one that would go down in history as the first to pull off the most legendary shortcut in Mario Kart Wii. And on December 6th, 2020, Arthur did this.
Arthur?
But the lap didn't count.
Oh, you fucking
He had
idiot.
just missed going back far enough to reach
You
Region 0.
stupid dummy.
A YouTuber named Winbag4 posted a demonstration that had a green line to represent where Arthur needed to go for the lap to count. As you can see, he barely missed nicking it, so the checkpoint didn't update. This tiny distance was how close Arthur came to making
He hasn't
history.
slept since.
The very next day, a player named Core became the second person to cross the gap of Rainbow Road. But he too didn't go far enough back.
Oh my, these idiots.
It seems that he was a few pixels closer than
my
Arthur
God.
to hitting Region 0, but he still didn't reach it. That was 2 players in the same week who made it across the gap, but just couldn't get the lap to count. And a short while later, a 3rd player made it across, Happy with Sugar. He too reached the
Oh
other side
my
of the road,
god.
but wasn't far enough back to get the
Let's
lap
go a
skip.
little further,
And
guys.
unlike Arthur and Core, Sugar would go on to repeat this feat 5 more times,
Oh wow, that's
leaving
rough.
him with half a dozen skips that didn't count a lap.
Yeah, y'all see that? It's number 6. It's not a lap count. Don't get too excited.
That was the real hard part of this ultra shortcut. Making it
Hey,
across
Tier
the
1
gap was
Bardigan.
tough, but doing it from Region 0? That was another story. Despite all of these close calls, none of them were able to get the lap to count. Weeks passed.
None of them except
2021 began, and still nobody
T-Pain?
had pulled it off. At this point, the Rainbow Road Ultra Shortcut
Oh,
had
what?
stood the test of time for 5 years.
no one's done it?
Thousands of attempts from dozens of different players. In my first Mario Kart Wii video, I made a sincere statement. Their Rainbow Road Ultra shortcut would one day be pulled off. The only question was, who was going to be the author? Well, turns out, I was pretty close.
Oh, it was Arthur!
Oh my god! Oh my god, guys! Clip that, clip that. Clip that, guys. Oh, wait. Wait! Guys, I did it! I did it!
Now do it again, do it quick! Oh. Coward. I'm not impressed, he only did it once. I'm not that impressed. If he did it twice, okay, then we could talk. You can only do it once? We can find a mushroomless variant. Is Arthur still the only one to pull it off? Or has anyone else tied it? Oh, Logan beat it. Man, Logan is so nutty. Such a fucking clinical nutcase. That guy just fucking goes wild. He has like every world record. One day I'll bring my old glitching clan out of retirement. What did I used to call us? I think I called us Chaos Glitches. Back in Gears of War. I think I still have some of the old videos up. Let me see. It was just me. I don't know why I say what I called us. It was literally just me. I tried to start like a gaming clan revolution. Wayback doesn't have any of my old videos. I've checked thousands of times. I get so nostalgic trying to find all my old shit, but it's just nowhere. That's why I never believe people when they say when it's on the internet it's forever. If that was true, I'd be able to find all my old montages and glitch videos. Chaotic Perfection, do you remember Map Monkeys? Yeah, of course I remember both of them. Chaotic Perfection had that guy named Tedious Shooter, and every single glitch video he used to make had Lolita's Medicine playing, which is a great song. I tried to kind of like hijack Chaotic Perfection, so I called us like Chaos Glitchers or something like that. It was really unfortunate for Chaotic Perfection because they were using the abbreviation CP, and now that's just used for child porn, which is probably why they like retired that name if I had to guess. Yeah, so their entire glitching clan had CP plus their name. It was... Check out the new Nickelodeon All-Stars character showcase. It's actually really good. You won't be disappointed. The curse continues. Whenever someone says you won't be disappointed, they're always wrong. I've already watched it. I was pretty disappointed. I love the idea, but the execution to me isn't that good. So I watched both the Lucy Loud and Leonardo showcase they posted today.
We'll begin our study of the ninja arts with Leonardo.
I'm definitely gonna play it, but I'm not as hyped as I once was.
Is horizontal slash. His slide up is vertical slash. When pressured,
there's just one sound effect, very little animations, no voice acting at all.
And his leg down is leg sweep.
It's just a little disappointing.
Let's go over Leonardo's aerial light attacks.
And they don't really use the full Nickelodeon catalog very well.
His slide up air is aerial vertical slash. And his leg down air is down slash. Because of these attacks' range, speed and angle, it works.
No, the gameplay I think will be good. 100%. They have wave dashing and everything.
Leonardo's light dash attack is Shell Shock. Let's move on to the attacks that would make Master Splinter proud. Leonardo's strong attack. Leonardo's strong neutral is dual horizontal slash.
They don't have a budget.
His strong up is
yeah, I know, which is a shame.
Slash. As you may have noticed,
they somehow got licensing right for Nickelodeon, but still didn't have a huge budget.
And his strong down is scissor slash. Leonardo's strong dash
It's
attack
gonna be dead in a month. I guess
kick.
we'll see. I don't know much about
Leonardo
Slap City, but
lifts and
apparently a lot of people like
No
Slap
worries,
City.
that display-
I love the idea. Maybe if they keep like updating it, they can really get it like fleshed out and kind of wild. But yeah, I gotta say, the showcases have been a little underwhelming to me. I love the idea, like the core gameplay mechanics. It's just, I don't know, it just feels so like sheepishly made, I guess is the wrong word, but I don't know, it just feels like it's incomplete. Just no voice acting, one sound effect, very little animations. What year did you post those deleted videos? From 2006 to 2009, I used to, well, yeah, 2009. I used to post like glitch videos and montages. I already contacted YouTube if they still exist somewhere, if I could retrieve them. They said no, it's too late, like it's been too long. They're not on archive.org or anything either, so there's just nowhere for it unless some crazy person back 13, 14 years ago decided to save all of them. Like download and save them. Recipe for normalcy. I would actually pay good money if someone could bring those videos back, find them for me. I would love to have my entire catalog back. I want to see all my old shit. I used to even make a couple machinimas and a few AMVs. I would love to have all that back. I would pay quite a bit of money for it. What is this, man?
First case of COVID-19.
Itching for time outdoors. The house and
Hey, why don't we just bring
Why did you just recommended your fucking local news segment? Why do you keep saying Drake Bell responded to you? I highly doubt that, but here, I'll check real quick. I don't even know what there'd be to respond to. What do you know? He didn't. I don't know why I even bothered. Well, that took about 15 seconds. Osu TikTok cheater. Okay, let's check this one out. Thanks to resub Kobe.
So excellent.
Okay, bro,
So
aim it
excellent,
right.
Marcus, my sword.
Aim it right.
I can't aim my sword. I just can't do this.
Alright, so then do it. So then do a math that you just did a second ago. Do the same shit.
So are they exposing this guy right now?
Imitate a score you've gotten or something. I don't fucking know.
Do Angel with the shotgun, but SS it.
Shit, I wish that was an SS. That pissed me off.
Why would he agree to do this?
My fucking body.
Knowing full well that he was cheating, why would he agree to try and
That shit's
replicate
off
this?
now. Alright, bro. If his act is ass, he's acting.
I don't know. The egg is looking kind of slow. Oh!
I'm a little
Fuck
confused.
that entire thing.
Is he missing? Oh, yeah, he is. My mic was blocking it.
Yeah, I don't know
Dude,
how I
the
did it
egg
first
is
time.
looking
I'm not
kind
even
of
joking.
thick.
I'm not even joking. I don't know how I did it the first time. I swear on job, baby, on everything. I'm not hacking. I don't know how I did that the first time.
I can tell you.
Dude, I know why. Because he had.
So this is just a live exposing of that guy. I want to know the history of it. Is this an explanation? Oh, it's 59 seconds. Probably not.
Space streams are just too easy, bro. Space streams.
Artist creates large-scale works of art. Why are we watching this? I don't know, man. Someone just recommended it. What do you want to watch? Thanks to the resub Lechuga and the gifts of Begin King. That looks much better. Significantly better. There's a lot more to it. A lot more soul. The subtle art of emography. Nice. Yeah, I'll watch Squid Game at some point.